Welds turning out like this? I've got 5 tips in under 5 minutes to get you guys those welds that are worth showing off. Number 1, throw away the nozzle. You don't need it for flux core welding. With the nozzle out of the way, you can actually see those hard to get to or hard to see joints like this fillet weld on a T-joint or when you're up underneath a car chassis. Now, seasoned welders will argue, hey, when you switch over to MIG, you need to learn with, or you have to weld with this guy on, so might as well learn with it on now. My counter to this is I don't flux core weld the same way I MIG weld. You know, MIG welding, it's a great process. It's very clean and really you can see the weld puddle that much better. Versus flux core, it's brighter and you kind of have to look right at that because right after you've already got slag forming over the weld and then you can't even see the puddle. So instead of actually looking at the puddle for flux core, I look really at the stick out. As you can imagine, without the nozzle, you can actually see that stick out. You can see the tip of the wire going right into that weld. That's what I'm looking at for flux core. If your MIG gun comes with gas holes, what a gas hole, for the MIG gas to go through and did not come with a flux core nozzle, well, either pick some up, link in the description, or do continue to use that nozzle because you need to protect the gas holes. Number 2, throw away your fixed shade mask and get an auto darkening helmet. Actually, don't throw this away. Keep it around for those solar eclipses, or eclipses? Eclipse eyes. Now this one's actually twofold. We'll call it tip 2.1. Either way, by having to hold this up, it takes away one of your arms for support. Just being able to have 2 points of contact, whether you're making a triangle, holding it up here, holding, bracing, whatever it is, that control will get you that much better a weld. Second benefit for an auto darkening is it's right in the name. It auto darkens. You can get right up close, personal. You can get just that perfect stick out, pull the trigger, and go. Number 3 is your settings. It plays a huge factor in the weld that you're gonna get. Now I can't go over every machine because there's way too many, but there are gonna be 2 controls that you need to look out for, and that would be your wire speed and voltage. Voltage and wire speed. Start with the suggested settings, which is always typically under the hood or somewhere on the machine. And the key point that I want you to know is both of these go hand in hand and work together. You don't want, one all the way turned all the way down and the other all the way up. It's not gonna turn out right. If you're laying down a weld and it's just heaped up on top of the material, not even really going down into it, you're gonna be turning these up, both of them. Start out just slow, do another pass until you get a nice consistent bead. And on the flip side, if you're burning through, well, you're screwed, give up. No, I'm just kidding. You're obviously too hot, so you're gonna wanna turn these suckers down a little bit. Or, another thing, slow down or speed up. That's another way that you can actually make those adjustments mid-weld. So if you're mid-weld, you don't wanna actually stop and do these adjustments, just switch your speed. So that could be maybe 3.1. Number 4, forget about those curly Q's or those cursive E type patterns. That does not play that big of an effect in your weld that you should be thinking about and trying to focus on during the weld. Just try to get a very steady, consistent weld. I tried to go as straight as I could right here and you still get a nice ripple effect. Shoot for that first and then add in patterns once you've got everything else down. Number 5, that final step to actually throwing down a show-worthy weld happens before you pull the trigger, and that would be anti-spatter spray. So, simple as that, you do a quick spray, and as mentioned, flux core, you got all that smoke, dust, and spatter balls. Just with a quick spray of that, all of those just brush right away, at least most of them do. Well, almost, no, there's not even one on this piece. For the other end, you'll start seeing that all of that same spatter will start collecting on the tip of the tip. For that, you just dip it every once in a while in Nozzle Gel, and then you just a quick brush and all that just flies away, and even sometimes it will just fall off mid-weld. Protect the tip from the spatter balls, and like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.